So, as of today, the Scarlet Nexus trial dropped exclusively for the Xbox line of consoles, which is on the weird side because it's an anime jrpg, but they've been doing a lot of influence with Namco Bandai, so I'm not too shocked. Regardless, I went through it and played it, and I have some thoughts that I wanted to put out there in my first impressions of Scarlet Nexus. Firstly, I want to say, absolutely stunning art direction. I was thoroughly impressed with the cel-shaded visuals and everything, but I didn't expect its locales and things to be anything too interesting. However, the game does a lot with its psychokinesis kind of Mob Psycho-esque abilities, you know what I mean? There's buildings that are in the sky that are kind of blooming like a flower. The enemy designs are these avant-garde, creepy plants and various realistic objects turned kind of horrific alien designs, and I think it does a really good job of making itself stand out among the sea of anime hack and slash kind of titles. And I really loved how all the characters look, their outfits they wear are pretty sick, and it just makes you feel like you're a part of this elite psychokinetic military force. I personally think everything looks great. It ran at a buttery smooth 60 FPS, which is always a plus in my book. And for the plot stuff, there's not too much I can really go into because it's only a demo, but for the most part, I liked how the characters interacted with each other. Yes, there's a lot of talkie-talkie on the walkie-talkie, but I liked how the characters bounced off each other pretty organically, and it added a lot of insight into what you're supposed to do in the game without it constantly pulling control away from you, really giving you the chance to experiment and figure stuff out as your comrades give you tips and extra things in a cocky kind of interesting way depending on the character to make you go, oh, let me try this out and see if it works, instead of a giant tutorial box coming up and, you know, blocking you from just proceeding and playing the game. There is a little bit of that, but again, it is a demo. I'm sure that's going to be smoothed out once the game launches and stuff, where you have the option to turn it off or whatever with how many myriad of options they had in the menu, but just some things that I, took notice of. The game offers two characters for this demo, Yuito and Kasane. These two are the brand new troops that just joined this EDF kind of psychokinetic force, and you take on everyone, and it's really fun and a lot of great combat stuff, which we're going to talk about right now. The combat in the game is really satisfying. For the guy, you have about 4 different abilities to choose from. You have this Pyromancer ability, one that lets you see clairvoyance, so when you do a perfect dodge, you get an extra teammate that comes through and helps you during things of that nature, and a myriad of other kind of abilities that you get to mess around with, and it's really awesome. And when you do combat, it is a little bit on the stealth side at first, but once you start piecing everything together and expanding your moveset not through the actual mash X combo tree but utilizing your environment, the game really opens up with how creative the combos and combat can get, and I already see potential for it to expand and balloon even further as you further go into your skill tree, as it is a JRPG, and I already saw some stuff in there that you have to get like 4 extra attacks or 5 extra attacks to continue your strings and stuff. So really looking forward to playing the full game when it drops and expanding my character's moveset, but for now it worked out really well. Every enemy has a certain weakness you have to switch between, so there's going to be a little bit of skill and telegraphing what type of characters you want to bring in what type of missions, hopefully, and I'm really looking forward to how they're going to work all of these puzzle combat elements along with the psychokinetic abilities into the gameplay, because it's already a blast. Some enemies are really good at predicting what you're going to do, so you have to use clairvoyance to perfectly dodge and counteract them, and it's really interesting to have a mechanic like that in a game with psycho powers and all that. So there's a lot of awesome stuff they're already playing around with, and I think that's going to be a really great time for a $60 JRPG kind of release. And it's nice to see that they're actually trying to do something fresh and unique here with the hack and slash genre for the anime types of games that have been coming out, as we usually just get standard button mashers with a hold button down and get a full ability, but here it's something completely different, and I'm really looking forward to what they're going to further expand on as the game goes on. The guy was kind of not much to talk about. Yuito, he's okay. He's got a typical kind of, I guess what you call vanilla combat experience, especially with the kit that they give you. It's a nice primer to get you into the game. However, when we play as the girl Kasane, you definitely start to see a little bit of what this game is going for in terms of how the combat's going to balloon and get out of control. She has these really cool area of effects daggers you can use to lock enemies down. She has a guy who had an electricity field, which again shocks and paralyzes enemies, and you could switch between a hyper field, which slows down time and lets you rush in and do a bunch of damage, although a little bit of chip. It doesn't do as much as some of your other attacks, and you can dash out. There's enemies that are faster than the human eye, so you have to use this ability too to slow down time and take them on, and all sorts of other wacky, crazy stuff of that nature. If you want to use a lot of objects in your combat, like throwing boxes and barrels and explosive stuff around, or water barrels to set up for electric water, bonus damage and stuff. It's really awesome. You can use a duplication move that sets the water down, duplicates it, then you switch to electricity and get a big bonus damage attack. I mean, the amount of stuff that you could set up for in this game is really creative, and I'm already itching to go back in there and kind of tweak and mess around just a little bit more to figure out what I can do, because it is a really awesome demo. Overall, I was thoroughly impressed with Scarlet Nexus. I was a little wary about it after all the trailers and stuff, but it has something that I felt was lacking from some of the games I was looking forward to. For example, it's pretty obvious this game has a lot of Astral Chain influence pretty somewhere deep inside of there. When you kill an enemy and get them low, you can pull their core out to refill a little bit of your EDF gauge, or I guess psycho energy gauge, or whatever you want to call it, and that's all well and good and pretty cool. You could even see the cyberpunk influence, but definitely done a lot better here in my opinion, as it feels a lot more unique than other cyberpunk things we've seen as of late. And on top of that, you even get a little bit of that gravity rush like I mentioned, because you get to pool all of these awesome abilities and do all of this psychokinetic powers and things and utilize them in your combos and stuff. And it just definitely reminded me of Kat's outings throughout her franchise. So overall, really great game so far, and I'm looking forward to it. Is it going to be worth 60? We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping that it does kind of not get too repetitive or boring as combat goes on, but from what I've played, it is a really fun time, and I'm really looking forward to the launch. So that's about all I have to say about it. It's a really cool demo, and I highly recommend you guys play it. If you have an Xbox, you don't want to pass this one up, I'll leave a link down below, because finding the demo was a bit of a pain. Scrolling through the store, you had to search Scarlet Nexus all the way and then look for the demo version or the trial version or whatever. It was a little confusing. It wasn't just on the main page, but regardless, it's out there and it's really fun, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Just a short little first impressions, because I really want to signal boost this game if possible. And I also really wish you guys a great day. Hope you all have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Peace.